Get your penicillin handy because tonight we're going to discuss some of the burning issues regarding the Atari VCS. Get it? That's an STD joke.
Got it.
I am Dr. Mike at Official Pagan on everything. Joining me, as always,
Hi, everybody. This is No Gonorrhea here, Kelly. And I'm at on Twitter and Instagram at KELLYTHUL. If you get a chance, we'd really greatly appreciate if you subscribe to the Bog Panda YouTube channel, check out some of our videos, leave us some comments, likes if you're so inclined, check out our merch store, and then go back and watch a few more videos.
yeah, I'm going to say, honestly, leave some likes, even if you're not inclined.
Yeah, it doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah,
Just a click.
just be a good person. Leave some likes.
What other show gives you STD intro jokes?
Right.
So,
Out
not
of the
many.
billions of shows on YouTube, what, five, maybe?
Right.
Well, tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the Atari VCS. Now, Kelly, as you guys may or may not know, is an early adopter of Atari tokens as his primary form of currency.
That's right.
So it's got to be a roller coaster for you right now because both you and I have been extremely excited about the Atari 50th anniversary collection. I think I can speak for both of us saying that we're really enjoying our experience with that so far.
Absolutely.
And, we've covered and talked a little bit about the Atari VCS, which is their hybrid PC box gaming system that they had put out. There is, I'm going to say in the beginning, it didn't seem like there was a ton of excitement for it because essentially it's a streaming box that can also play games very similar to things that you might already have with a, Raspberry Pi or anything like that. So, and you can stream Netflix on any device you own pretty much at this point. Netflix is like 1 degree away from playing Doom on everything.
That's right.
I don't understand how you can't play Doom on Netflix yet.
And there, we probably got to do a few searches. You probably can.
You probably can. Somebody had to have figured this out. I mean, I've watched both Doom movies on Netflix, so that's pretty close. Um, so it didn't seem like there was a ton of excitement. Over the past few months, though, I do feel like things have been picking up. And I think it's because, from my understanding, because I don't have one of these, but from my understanding, they have beefed up the PC side of it a little bit, doing more with the Linux operating system on there. So there does seem to be people who are into that stuff, seem to be a little more excited about it now. Maybe more so than some of the gaming stuff, because it seems like a lot of the titles that are available for it are available for other platforms, specifically on Steam. And it was even like, and this is a weird thing, the Atari 50th anniversary collection came out last for Atari VCS. It hit every other platform except Atari. And then finally, I think right before the holidays, hit VCS. So, I mean, that's weird.
Yeah.
So, I get the mixed reaction to the way a lot of this has been handled. But there's been some announcements recently that seem weird and contradictory, and just I figured we kind of talk it out and see how we both feel about it. One of them is that Atari, or the company that has the Atari name right now, who released the VCS, they're having some financial issues, and they're going to stop. It looks like stop manufacturing on VCS. I can't say that that's a huge surprise. I'm going to be honest, based on some of the early reaction to it, I'm surprised VCS is still going 2 years or whatever it is into it. Um, it seems odd though, because it seems like that announcement was timed at the same time as a long year of products that they announced for VCS, new games and updates and things like that that are going to take everybody throughout the year. So it seems like contradictory reports coming from Atari. So, as our inside man, sir, where do you stand on all of this?
Well, just rest assured, you can continue to mine Atari tokens. Everything is fine there. While this isn't financial advice, it's the way to go. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, it is super confusing. There's a variety of things. I would be really interested in comparing the sales of the VCS with the Jaguar, and to kind of see, a lifespan that was incredibly short. on the Jaguar to kind of just to see now different time, different world, different market and everything, but to just kind of see, what were the kind of numbers that prompted the early demise of Jaguar? I mean, outside of other financial impacts, which certainly caused it, but what were those things there? So it is confusing. I do think when cash flows tight, when you're trying to go through it and you got to call a ball, maybe it is the smart play to say, you know what, we're going to, because I'm going to guess that like demand hasn't been, they may have enough in stock to say we're going to be able to meet current demand for a little while here, but let's stop manufacturing, but let's create some more reasons why people are going to want to buy this and justify us firing back up, rolling some out. That's complete speculation on my part, but except for the Atari token thing, that's solid,
right? Obviously,
but that's my hunch on it. What would your read be?
I think Atari has a long history of bizarre mishandling of their products, and I think that this again falls into that. So the Atari 50th Anniversary Collection is one of the many licensed products using the Atari name, just like the Fight Stick and the Atari branded Raspberry Pi that Micro Center put out, and the various collections and things that have come out. But it just shows like the release of that kind of sums up where Atari, the company, has kind of almost always been, even though it's changed ownership a few times. The Atari 50th Anniversary Collection is something that people were very excited about and has been getting, it seems like almost universal praise from everything I can see. They couldn't get that out in time on VCS because of issues with the VCS platform. So I feel like that kind of sums up the way that Atari is run most of the time. Going all the way back to the 2600 with the infamous ET debacle where they were like, 1 million people have Ataris, let's make 3 million copies of ET and everybody will buy 3 copies. Like that sort of mentality seems to be where any logical person be like, hey, that's a stupid idea. Atari's like, let's do it. And just runs with it. And that's the way a lot of the stuff with Jaguar was handled. And Jaguar has a big base now of indie and homebrew games and things like that because the company that bought the Jaguar hardware didn't want the gaming system. So they actually made it public domain. So indie companies and homebrew communities and things like that have been pumping stuff out for it ever since. But the actual handling of the Atari Jaguar it was a confusing thing with the chip system, not just for fans, but for actual developers, which led to mostly 16-bit ports being released for it. And to me, the real icing on the cake, a VR game for a non-existent VR headset. So again, the way Atari does things, they had an idea for a VR headset and they were like, let's just release a game for it now. I mean, nobody has this VR headset because we didn't make it, but let's put a game out there, which is included on the Atari 50th Anniversary Collection. So to me, this seems very much in line with the way Atari, the company, has sort of handled things. They announced this big slate of releases and upgrades and things like that for next year, while at the same time announcing they're stopping production of the VCS. Which, like you said, it's probably a situation where there's enough stock and not enough demand to keep producing it right now. But I feel like when you announce it that way, it's not going to encourage people to run out and buy it.
No, no matter how cool the new stuff is coming out, if in the back of your mind you've got this, well, they've kind of already put it on life support to a degree,
Right.
clearly at risk. So that's unfortunate. And I think, I guess more props to the Atari 50th celebration collection of information because, it has nudged me into the space to go, maybe at some point I need to be an Atari system completionist. And I'd like to have all of these different Atari systems and all these variants and all that. So then we had talked about the VCS a long time ago. And at that point I was like, I'm not compelled, but they've caught me with their nostalgia and their stories where I'm kind of going, I don't know, I think I might need one of those, but it's a risky proposition because it's not going to be the one you grow with. Plus, an Amiga saw the same thing kind of happen with them on a couple of their systems, where it's like, it's a computer, it's a game system, it's a when it doesn't have a lane, and for you to put it in a lane, like, okay, well, you can make it a computer if you do this and this. And I think the Amiga stuff, for the most part, used to be Amiga 500s sitting in different cases, that ultimately it's like, hey, add a keyboard and a hard drive, and voila, you've got Amiga 500. And I think it's a little more work on the Atari side to kind of get that functional with the VCS. It's an interesting form factor, but I just don't, for the tinkerers out there and the folks that really get into this, I think it's, a home run. It's a thing that fits really well. But other folks are like, either a gamer or really into some on the computer side of things. There's, I think sometimes having something that tries to please both of them, somebody's going to come up a little bit short.
Yeah, and it seems like you said, they're really not focused on one area or the other. So I feel like they're both probably coming up short. Although, same thing with you. I was actually, after the 50th anniversary collection, I would have been more open to a VCS. I mean, probably not now, but who knows if this causes a situation where stores start blowing them out and I can pick one up at a really cheap price. Probably.
Yep. Yeah. I would like that, near-death experience of a console price drop.
Yeah.
Have that hit the market, get it then, and then have it resurrect and come back. That's what I would like. But there's a lot of things I'd like. So
even if it's definitely dead in the water, as long as I'm able to get a few downloadable games for it, if I can pick it up for next to nothing, great.
Yep.
I'll pick it up for that.
Yep. I would like to have it sitting next to my 2600. I do think that would look kind of cool.
Then you got to get a Jaguar.
Yep, in there. And then find Space Wars. Get one of those. We're good to go.
Find the prototype VR headset.
Yeah. And then there's and we're gonna do our deeper dive later on the Atari stuff, but the hologram, they had a kind of a hologram handheld thing that they never made it to market, but they were coming pretty close. So there's many Atari things to get. So excellent. Well, we just wanted to kind of check in a little bit. If you've got insight, where this is kind of going, or you got some theories on what's going on with the VCS, or if you have one and would like to share kind of what your experience has been so far, we'd certainly love to hear from you.
And everybody just start hashtagging Jaguar Mini now. That's what we need.
A Jaguar Mini would be excellent.
Yeah, or at the very least, Digital Eclipse needs to jump on like just a Jaguar collection with all of the games. What is there, 30 of the original games?
Yeah, since they've already demonstrated they can pull it off.
Yeah, because apparently those early games are difficult to emulate. I mean, now like I said, there's a big indie and homebrew community. Most of those games you can easily buy digital copies of. So, now it doesn't seem to be an issue. But those early games, when they were still trying to figure out the architecture, I'm not a programmer, so I don't understand why, but apparently those are very difficult to emulate. And it's an impressive feat that these games are playing.
Bog Panda.